It is Mr. Matt Man, the YouTube slacker again, coming at you live from the Turtle Garage. So, I've had again, not eventful week. Work's been absolutely crazy. A lot of stuff going on at the house that I've had to take care of and do. So we do have the car here. I've done a little bit of work this week. Like, I kind of bolted on the suspension. I'm still in the process of trying to turn this thing back into a car. So like, I have to bundle up those wires, tie them to the frame rail, bolted on the hood hinge, bolted on the blanking plate for the mirror, little stuff like that. I made another brake line that goes from there to the other side of the subframe, and then I gotta start making the rest of the brake lines. As mentioned in the last video, the radiator is back in. I did have some luck bleeding the cooling system, so the car's been running phenomenally, idling wise. I haven't really romped out or anything like that. But I have run the car. It'll run to about 155 degrees, 160 degrees coolant temp. Shut the engine off. I will go ahead to the steam port. I will crack open this fitting right here. It allows the air to come out, and then I'll see the bubbles come out. I'll close the line. I'll add some coolant in the back, and then I've been cycling like that. You may see here the alternator is missing. And well, do I have some good news. So I took the alternator to the alternator shop today. Backstory. When I parted out my 4-cylinder, a friend of mine worked at Advanced Auto Parts. He asked me if I needed anything for the car. I said yes, I still need an alternator. So we looked up the highest amperage factory alternator we can find, which is a Cadillac Escalade. So he traded me cash plus that alternator for a boost controller I was selling. Well, physically it bolts on the car, great, no issues. Then when it comes to wiring, the ECU has to control that specific alternator, which I couldn't use. So I found a local shop, and they actually changed the regulator to a self-exciting. So basically, you have the big wire here that connects to the battery, and then you have this guy right here that's got to come from a switched source, 12 volts. So this wire is always live, and then this will be excited when the key's turned on. He told me that I could, if I wanted to, have it so the alternator is always excited, but it tends to get hot and it will fail sooner that way. That's why I have it wired to the key switch. Well, anywho, so now that the car is running, and I've probably got 30 minutes on the engine now, idling, and I'll rev it a little bit, but nothing excessive. And I'll pull data logs and whatnot, and the alternator is never charged. So I verified all my connections were right. I had 12.8 volts on the small wire from the key. I had 12.8 from the big wire of the battery, so I know we're good there. I took it to the alternator shop today. He tested it, and I guess he said the rotor is bad. And I guess with the aftermarket alternators on the rotors, they have like a copper strand wire, and he says for me moving it around or doing whatever, it could have broken. So yay. So luckily it's like a $30 fix, so it's not really that bad comparative to a $200 new alternator. But man, that's such a pain in the butt. So once the alternator goes back on, and I put the brake line, or I make the brake lines, there's nothing that would actually stop me from driving it down the road. I did end up having it idling long enough so I can actually add more transmission fluid. So the trans fluid's topped off, and that is good there. So basically now what I need to do is mount this, and this is the line lock and the brake proportion valve. I have to mount this in the car, probably on top of the trans tunnel, connect all the brake lines to the car, obviously bleed all the brakes, and then I could actually take it out on the road to just drive down the street and back to test everything. So I'll probably end up putting it somewhere over there, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, she's just been sitting. So hopefully I'll get the alternator back, I believe, Monday. So next weekend, I'm trying to think in my head, I don't think there's anything I have going on that's crazy. So my goal for next weekend, possibly, I would like to drive it down the street and back. So I think I should be able to make the brake lines this week. I have the tool coming in from Summit Should have been here today, but I guess there was an issue with shipping. Hopefully I'll have it tomorrow. And then I tried using the stainless steel brake line from Eastwood, but it's so hard on the tooling. So I found this from Advanced Auto Parts, where it's actually like a copper nickel. I actually made a couple lines already. You see like the one for the back pressure right here. And then I also made this guy right here for the engine bay. So I know the tooling works, but the problem is whenever I used the flaring tool with the stainless steel, I actually caused the die to, I guess, mess up. So I had to order another tool. So now with this new tool, I'm only doing the soft line, but the nickel copper stuff. So I should be able to do that. Fill it up with fluids, bleed the brakes. And yeah, I don't really see a reason why I won't be able to drive down the street. I mean, maybe it won't have the carb or nothing. Like I would literally take it like this, like bare bones and, you know, torn apart still, but just to test all the functions. But I don't think it's not doable. So gotta clean her up. Just gotta put the strikers back on and just finish it. I gotta turn this back into a car again. Make this Miata great again. But anyway, I didn't want to ghost you guys. You guys have been liking the last couple videos I posted, so I just wanted to come and say I'm still alive. I didn't die from that stupid spider bite, and I will be working on the car probably tomorrow. As long as I have that tool, I'll be making the brake lines tomorrow. So if you're not familiar on how to make brake lines, maybe that's a perfect opportunity for me to show you how to make brake lines. But yeah, so short video, me blabbing like always. I will include a couple of clips of the car running and idling this week. Just something interesting to watch. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great night, and I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow.